Hi, I'm Keith Fenwick. We're in the English Lake District and I've chosen this lovely composition on the River Derwent to paint for you. This painting will give me the opportunity to show you how to paint trees, how to paint some shingle coming into the water, how to paint reflections in the water, and how to paint stubble in the foreground to balance the painting. We've done the sketch outdoors and I've done it with a water-soluble crayon, a dark brown water-soluble crayon. We've moved into the studio now, so let's start painting. The first thing we're going to do, as in all paintings, is to put in the sky. Now, you'll notice I always have tissue in my hand. I use that to control the strength of pigment, the wetness of paint on the brush. That's very important in watercolours. The secret is knowing how wet the paint on the brush is in relation to the wetness or dryness of your underpainting. So we're going to put in a very simple sky. There's a lot of detail in the foreground here, so that demands a very simple sky. So all we're going to do is a very simple wash. I'm using a bit of cobalt blue. Just wet it across there, very, very simply, look. Just working around the tree structures and the mountain. Now we need to let this dry a bit before we put the mountains in. If we don't, the paint will just go whoosh into the sky. It's time to paint the mountains in now, and I'm going to use a size 14 brush. So I'm going to paint these very, very simply again by just doing simple washes, look. We'll paint a few simple features in the mountain structure. We'll have a little bit of raw sienna, I think, now. Just add a bit of variety of colour in there. But I want this to be nice and light. So I'm going to have the darker trees. And we're going to do something different here today for you. We're going to paint this as an autumn scene. We're going to use our imagination as artists. That's what it's all about. A bit of Payne's grey now, just a touch of alizarin crimson. That'll give us a dark colour, which I can just pick out just a few little bits, look, in the mountains. Because there's a few little crevices and cracks in the mountains, and so just put that in there like that. All I'm doing is dabbing the paint on, look, and then we'll just rinse the brush and drag it down like that. And there's our mountains put in. But I'll show you another useful little technique now. With a bit of tissue, I'll put it to a wedge. And we'll add a few highlights on the mountain structure, nice tight wedge, and we'll just remove paint, look, and add a few highlights. Very simple technique, but very effective. We need to let that dry now. We're going to put a little grass in now on the land area before we paint the trees in. So I'm using a bit of raw sienna, and I'm coming down to this area here, look. Just a little touch of green, not a lot. Just a touch across there like that, across there. While I'm at it, I think we'll put in this grass over here. This is on the bank coming down to the water. When you're outdoors painting, of course, you've got to move around the painting like this, because you've got to let one area dry, because you don't have a hairdryer or anything like that. One area dry before you progress to the next area. I'm just going to darken the grass now with a little bit of Payne's grey blue. This is a Payne's grey blue I'm using. Payne's grey is just black and blue, but depending on which manufacturer you use, you get various amounts of blue in. So some are dark grey and some are quite blue. This one's quite blue. Right, we're going to stop there, and we need to let that dry now.